Okay, it's final exam time. What does our exam look like in our art classes? Here I've got some examples for you from some previous years. So first of all, my students, you're going to get a sheet that looks like this on the front. And there are 6 possibilities in a proofs section and 2 short answers. And then there's a possibility of an illustration segment. So let me go through each of these and what's on them. Proof section in a 4-inch box, which is this size. You're going to need to show either an art element like value or texture or line or some aspect of color within each of these boxes based on things you can see in the class. So I say things in the class because that's going to help measure some observational skills. Know that you can modify texture and color and size to better say what you're being asked. So for example, texture. From inside the class, this student looked and saw one of the trees outside and decided, look at that bark, that would make excellent texture. I'm going to sketch that. That works really well. So this student got that box. Each box is worth 1 point. Here is an example of value. There was this vase in class, and so she showed value with some hatching strokes. She showed the lightness or darkness of something. So that gradient scale, that works for value. There's enough here for me to know what she was going for. If she had a bit of a darkened background, maybe fading to a little bit darker, a gradient there, that'd be even better. Most importantly, students, you need to be really obvious about what you're showing to make sure you get credit, because each is worth 1. Here for a face, I'm looking for a basic setup on what goes where. Where do the eyes go? How much space is between the eyes? Where is the nose compared to the eye on an absolutely average face? And just like the portrait project, we're going from a really good base, knowing that everybody looks different. But if you have an idea of a starting point, it helps you to be more realistic when you're drawing people. Within this final first semester, you're going to get one of the perspectives. So it's a 2-point perspective. You'll either get the archway, like this one, or you'll get the pyramid or the staircase. And I'm looking to see you've actually got those vanishing points, so I know that you know what goes where. You're going to get a pop-up as well. It could be the twist, like this one, the star turning, that twist fold. It could be the vertical riser. It could be the double V. So you're going to get one of those, so you need to practice all of them to make sure that you can do it well, because you're either going to get it or not. Going further down the line, here's the brush end technique. You're going to get one of those watercolor techniques. Usually they're about 12 in each year. This current year we got up to 13. One of them was brush ends. It might be the dry brush effect. It might be tape resist or salt, but you're going to get one of those. I will tell you, if you're watching this video, here's a bonus. You're not going to get the wash because we do that on a large scale with gravity, and that's too much logistically to set it for the final. So here's your bonus. You're not going to get the wash, but you might get one of the other 12. What else is on the final? And then I'll show you some other examples. We've got short answer questions. They're just 2. Most of these are related to the art elements or principles of design. Like I mentioned value before. What does value do? That might be a short answer question. Well, value shows the lightness or darkness of something. It can help show the roundness of something, a little bit of 3D. You can even add a little more of an emotive quality with portraits. Any of those answers would be great. You'd get that one. What about contrast as a principle of design? Well, it catches the eye. Oftentimes, it's the focal point of a piece. If you wrote that, you'd get it. So that's it for the written section. The illustration segment has to do with a story or a movie script. And I change this each year, and it's a surprise. I'm not going to tell you ahead of time. But I choose from that script characters, and you're going to get a small text that describes the character. You get 1 point for being true to the details that are given, and you get 1 point for further telling the character. So this is what an artist does, right? An illustrator, we further tell the story visually. So, for example, if it were, one year we did Star Wars A New Hope. So that's the first Star Wars movie ever made. And in the script, all it says of Darth Vader is that he has a dark cloak and a mask. So the most creative project I've seen, or the illustration of that character, came with somebody drawing a cloak kind of like a Grim Reaper cloak, but the mask was what really got it. The mask was a World War I gas mask. It was brilliant. So it's not exactly what many people would picture if they've seen the movie, but It's a creative additional detail. It's true to the story, number one, and two, it's a creative detail. Sometimes people say, but I've never seen the movie, or I've never read the book, or whatever it may be. That actually puts you in advantage because it's going to be more what you think, not what somebody else thinks. And I'm looking for that creativity. But I'm also looking to see that you're being true to how the character was designed. That's why 1 point for being true to details. Second point, further telling from there. So this is one example. Let's look at another one. This one had the pop-up, the vertical riser. Oh, it's a little stiff. But this one, if I open this up and close it, notice how she cut the side? That was really smart. This is a way to show that vertical riser. You can do it with adding an extra piece, or you can cut the page like this. Here's value, going for a water bottle that day. Complementary colors. I could see she's going through something here, but here's where it got a little bit difficult. She did 2 different pairs of complementaries. So thankfully I could see what she was going for, but sometimes this can make things confusing. If you get complementary colors for your project, just do one so it's really obvious that you know they're opposites on the color wheel. Texture. Texture is one of the things you can modify, anything you can see. So this student, she saw a ruler, and she knows a ruler is really smooth, so she went for an opposite texture. Smart way to go. She made it scaly, so it's a great way of showing texture. Watercolor example with some tape, pyramid, and so those are a couple of examples. Here's another one. Texture, and notice that the student modified the bag, showing all different kinds of textures. Balance, contrast, something popping up from the others. The student went for a little bit of color amidst black and white. I could see what she was going for. Maybe if the background were black, that'd be even better. Remember, you got to be obvious with this in order to get the point. That's the most important point that I want to give here. Got to be obvious so that I know exactly what you're going for. Develop it. Art teachers, I found that this is a really good way of measuring takeaways that students have from the project, and it's really easy to grade. So the grading is really fast because I can see got it, and just go down the line. And so when grades are due for us, it's easy to get that done on time. For students, oftentimes the time goes by really, really fast. It's easy to develop these a little bit further, again, to be really obvious in showing what you need to show. And when the student is done at the end of class, they can step back and say, look at all that I accomplished, all that I know about this. And it's a real good visual reminder of what's taken from the class. So there are many, many benefits to an exam of this nature. Students, I hope this is really helpful in giving you some demonstrations of what it could look like. And other art teachers, feel free to take and modify this as you need. I found it to be a really, really good way of assessing over the 20 years or so that I've taught art. So thanks very much.